Why'd you hit that deer, man, at Pebble Beach, man?
I didn't hit the deer. Tiger hit the deer.
Oh, it was Tiger that hit the deer?
Yes, I threw Tiger into the bus. It wasn't me. It was Tiger that hit the deer. I almost hit a deer.
Did you see that video?
No.
They're hitting balls.
That's spyglass, right?
And she was literally, I thought it was you. That's why the comment. Yeah, she hits the ball. I don't know what. There was an iron, and boom, there was a deer right there. The tiger hit her.
Tiger hit the deer. I didn't hit the deer. But okay, to everyone's defense, there were maybe like 100 deer on that range.
And it's foggy.
Yeah. We're not aiming for deers. It just,
No, I know
like,
you're saying.
everywhere
Get out
out
of here.
But yes, I threw Tiger in the bus. He hit the deer, not me.
Welcome to the Par 3 podcast. I am one of your hosts, J.R. Smith. My other host, the Ben Baller, Stephen Malbon. We have a very special guest. Not only is it our first professional golfer, but one of the most iconic women golfers of her generation. I don't think anybody has come up and under the golf ranks of, I would say, as much pressure and lights on as her. 5-time winner on the LPGA Tour, Miss Michelle Wie.
Hey.
That was my first intro, by the way, and I think I did a damn good job, but I'm going to say that.
I'm honored. Thank you for such a kind intro.
No, absolutely. You definitely deserve it, for sure. And for us as, golfers who try to strive to be anything but, just a speck of what you and, your colleagues are, we really respect what you do.
Thank you. You guys are all changing the game for the better, so thank you guys.
Well, you don't play as much anymore, I would imagine.
No.
But when you do play, what's your favorite club in the bag?
You're going to laugh.
Yeah.
My favorite club in the bag, and it's been this way for the last couple of years, is my 11 wood.
11
yes,
wood.
I have an 11 wood in my bag, and it is the most reliable club in my bag.
What type of iron would that be?
5 iron.
11 wood.
So what kind of loft is on a 11 foot?
I have a lot of loft. I mean, this thing looks like a lob wedge when you set it down. You can see so much face on that wood, but I can hit it low, I can hit it high. So I grew up in the wind. I grew up in Hawaii, and I always played in wind. I could hit anything low. So moving to the mainland, playing in no wind, I had trouble getting the ball up. And I would always play with this blade 5 iron because, pride and everything. And I'm like, seeing these girls, who have all these woods in their bags. And at first I'd be like, ha, you have woods in your bag. And then I would outdrive them 50 yards and they'd be hitting, woods in their bags from like 170 and hitting it closer than me than my wedges. And I'm like, okay, I need to approach this differently. And I started with a 7 wood. Then I got a 9 wood, and then I got an 11 wood. And then I started to ask my club rep for a 13 wood, and my caddy's like, just retire. You're done. Just retire. This is it. This is a sign. Go home.
And your irons go up to a 6?
Yes. Yeah.
It's amazing.
You guys got to try it. Don't knock it till you try it.
Might.
It is really easy to hit.
We need that. I mean, for us amateurs, I feel like a lot of the times we choose the wrong clubs, whether it's a driver that has 8 degrees of loft because we think it's just like, it's going to go further through the wind and all of that. And then guys hitting blades when they shouldn't be. Certain guys bring tour bags when they should bring stand bags, but that's another conversation.
It's for the show.
Okay.
I don't ever carry this out anywhere with a course.
Well, I think that's very important, picking the right equipment. Still be able to take your pride out of it and hit a hybrid or whatever, the right club. That says a lot. One of my questions is, growing up in Hawaii, was there a lot of females who played the game? Because you kind of like changed the game for the younger generation of females who think the game is cool and like more trendy. Like, was there a lot of females? Did you grow up with like a lot of females playing?
Yeah, there actually was a lot of girls. I would say, equal amounts of girls and boys playing. There were some really good girls in my age group that were coming up with me. It was really fun. I mean, I would say the girls were more memorable, in my opinion, than the guys growing up in our age ranks. The hardest part about growing up in Hawaii and trying to be good at golf is just the lack of tournaments. People always were like, oh, why'd you play in a PGA Tour event? Well, it was because we didn't have really the funds to go to the mainland and, travel on the AJGA and play in all these tournaments. So when I won the biggest women's tournament, not junior tournament, but women's tournament, I won by 13 strokes when I was 12. I was like, okay, so now what? So then I started playing in men's events. And that's kind of how I started playing into men's events. And then all of a sudden, this Sony Open, I saw this, opportunity and like, oh, it's 10 minutes from our house. I'm like, okay, great, let's try that. So when the whole like Sony thing happened, when I played in a PGA Tour event, people made a really big deal out of it. But for me, I was like, oh, this is another tournament 10 minutes from my house that I don't have to fly to the mainland for. So, yeah, that was kind of the thought process, I guess.
And you were 13?
Yeah.
13, and she
14 maybe?
And then you had to, make the cut? I mean, you had to, try out or something?
I think I got a sponsor's exemption, which I didn't really understand, what was a sponsor exemption, what was not back in the day. Very grateful that I did. The cut was always +1, back in the day. It was always at +1. And I remember I had a 9-foot putt on the last hole for birdie to get to +1. And I made a birdie and I fist pumped and everything. I'm like, I made the cut. And all of a sudden I got off the green. Mom's like, the cut was even. And I'm like, what the fuck? Seriously.
But you made that vibe.
I was like, God, these guys played really hard this week.
Yeah.
That's amazing to be shooting those type of scores at that age. I mean, I'm striving to get anywhere close to that now. And I feel like my lowest round was a 70. And I felt like I was in a boxing match trying to get that 70. Like when you're that young, do you realize how good you are?
No, I think that's the greatest thing about being good when you're young. You don't think about anything. You have zero fear. I had zero fear as a kid, and that, unfortunately, I think was a learned thing as I was getting older. I look at all these young kids playing golf, and it's just, I have this sense of envy because, they don't have experience, and I mean that in the best way. They don't have experience to feel fear. Right. They just go out there and play completely fearless. I think that was just one of the things that, unfortunately, that held me back a little bit was, I started getting injured. I started feeling like physical pain, and then the fear of pain, and then not playing well, and it's like the fear of not playing well. And I had a lot of ups and downs, a lot of really lows in my career too, which I'm really proud of myself for getting out of it. But I think when you're younger and you're playing well, that's the best part of it, is that you're fearless, you're cocky, you think no one can beat you.
Yeah.
Which is amazing mentality to have. And I hope I wish I had kept that. I'm also grateful for the life experiences that brought me here.
Absolutely.
I mean, you never had fear ever at any tournament? You just, even later on at 19 or 20 years old?
Oh, I had a lot of fear at 19, 20. A lot.
And so what do you do at the tee, the first tee? How do you overcome that?
It's funny. The first tee, no matter what, I'm always still so nervous. But I kind of reframed it, shifted the mindset where I'm happy that I'm feeling nervous. It is a privilege to feel nervous because once you don't feel nervous, that just means you don't care. And I remember when I played my last US Open, I did feel less nervous, which really, I felt that it was the right time to retire because I just wasn't out here really, really gunning it to win every single time. I just kind of reframed it as okay, this is a privilege to feel alive, to feel this nervous, to feel like you're going to want to throw up every time you step onto the tee. And it helped. I mean, I also started using a metronome, which helped as well. Have you guys tried that? Mm-mm. So when you're practicing, when you're not nervous, that is your natural rhythm. And when you start getting nervous, you usually get faster. Everything that you do, you move faster when you're nervous. And for me, I felt like my swing got faster, my putting tempo got faster, I started walking faster. So in my practice session, I started using a metronome, and I forgot what number it was, but let's say a round number, it was 70 beats per minute. And it was my full swing, my putting, everything was to that beat. And I noticed when I was listening to music, that beat per minute per song was changing. So I felt like my entire rhythm was changing because of that. So when I started using the metronome, I would just turn it on from when I just start putting. So I would try to walk that pace, swing that pace, move that pace. And it just really helped me to ground myself when I did get nervous. So might be a good thing to try.
It's amazing how I can hit balls even now. I'll go on the range and I'll say, I try to practice swing at 60% and then hit a full shot at 80%. And so I'll go on the range and I'll hit 7 to 8 in a row, whatever club it is, at 80% perfect. And then I'll just hit one 120%. It's I'm not even playing for anything. I'm just hitting balls on the range and I can't even control it, let alone the pressure of, you're talking about. Like, it's so your brain so quickly goes back to like, just like, why do I go from 80 to 120 in one swing for no reason at all? Like on the range.
Fun.
Yeah, but it's like I'm not trying to do it. It's only fun if you try to do it. If I'm trying to swing 75% and I go 150, it's like, this is wrong with me.
Golf is humbling.
Really
No,
is.
for sure, 100%. So when you were like, obviously young phenom, like how did your parents help you with that process?
Oh, they helped me with everything. They really kept me grounded. And, I was fortunate that I mean, we all grew up in the time where we didn't have social media.
Right.
You have to do the AOL like modem, like, Mom, get off the phones. I'm on AIM, We all went through that era. These kids nowadays don't know any of that. So I was fortunate when, I was playing in PGA Tour events. There was no Instagram or Twitter. Mean people couldn't reach out to me unless they physically wrote me a letter or some mean reporter wrote a mean article about me. And unless I signed on to AOL and Googled my name, which I never did. So fortunately, I was pretty sheltered. My parents never took me out of school. I had an opportunity to go to IMG Academy full time, but my parents, they put a real emphasis on my social life and on my normal life. They try to keep me normal as much as possible. So I went to my normal high school, my normal middle school, had my normal friends who still to this day know nothing about golf. And they made the conscious decision. They're like, okay, you can turn pro, but you have to go to college.
Right.
It's like, you can turn pro, you can do whatever you want, but you're going to university. So I thought that was a really important message to send to me.
That's powerful. You and I come from a similar lifestyle, being able to have so much success, very early, and then to be able to, retire when we have so much life left, and have kids now. Like, what has this timeline been like for you since you retired to like now? And don't talk about the championship. I don't want to hear about it. I don't even want to hear about it.
It was really fun going to the parade last year. Go Dubs. But I definitely had like an identity crisis moment. I was like, who am I? I mean, I spent my whole life being this one identity, and now all of a sudden I'm like, okay, who am I? Do people even care about me? Why do I even care about people caring about me? Like, I don't care, but I do care. And it was like this whole like mental thing. I also, if you can't tell or not, I overthink. I'm a very big overthinker. I have major anxiety, but we shall get to that later. Now I garden though. I focus on things that I couldn't do while I was playing full time. Gardening was like a big thing that was up there for me. Playing other sports, I play pickleball, but it's been a lot of fun just hanging around with my daughter and not having to grind. I have to say, like, not going to physical therapy for 2 hours and then going to work out for 2 hours and then practicing for 6 hours. I mean, it was really enjoyable when I was in the grind, but I think I knew it was time to retire when I just didn't want to put in the work.
Right. Yeah, because I feel like for us, we, especially when you're younger, you love it so much you don't even realize you're working on it as much as you are.
Yeah.
It's just so you're so in love with the process, and then you turn pro, you start to realize, okay, this is a job. Like, I gotta this is how I feed my family. And then after a while, that urge and that itch just for the love of the game starts to dwindle, because obviously life happens. You have kids, you meet somebody, so many different things. And it's just like, for me, I've always wondered how people like us who has success early and then still retire at the 35, 33, 32 years old and, go throughout life. Because it's hard. It's not like again, for me, I played basketball since I was 3 years old. I was a professional at 17, played till I was 33, 34 years old. I have so much life to go, and I sit here looking like, I'm a basketball player. I should be playing basketball. Like, what do? I got kids. And I found myself in such a depressed state at times, just because I didn't know where I was at. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. It's encouraging to hear from somebody like yourself getting better and getting through it, to know that I'm not alone in this fight. Because I know a lot of my peers are, and they just won't say it. It's like, bro, how you doing? It's like, oh, I'm good. I'm just, it was like, bro, you're just playing basketball for 20 years, and all of a sudden you're just not playing. You're good. Like, you're not good. Like,
it's
you're
weird.
Dealing with it, but you're not good.
Yeah, it's weird for sure. It's, I do have to say, though, it is nice kind of knowing how predictable my day is going to be.
Yes.
Because I don't know if you felt this way, but my anxiety got really bad my later years in my playing, where I got anxiety because I didn't know what my day was going to be. It was either I was going to have a fantastic day, I was going to have a great day of golf, I was going to shoot 67 and just feel so excited for the rest of the day, or I was going to play bad and just have a miserable day.
Yeah.
And that just gave me anxiety, knowing that either I was going to be extremely happy or just extremely miserable. And it's nice now. I mean, I have to say I don't feel the highs of winning tournaments or shooting 67 under pressure. But it's nice just knowing that my day is going to be okay.
Right.
Every day, just okay. I kind of like it. Kind of like it. It's so nice.
I hear that.
So the only thing that I have in common with you is that we're both Korean, right? So, you know.
Yeah.
Did you grow up in a really traditional Korean household?
I did. Yeah, I didn't speak English until I went to preschool.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that. Okay. I mean, was your dad like the typical Korean, like the most typical Korean household? Like, was your dad like really strict?
My dad and I don't hug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom like never said I love you. Like, it was never like no affection.
Yeah, it was hugging is awkward. Yeah.
So how do you feel about like the evolution of Koreans in professional golf now? Like from when you started being early on, like, I don't know, was it KJ Choi maybe and Park Seri, obviously?
Yeah.
Like, and to now, like Tom Kim, like, but like, what do you feel about how many like Koreans are showing up now in the LPGA? Like, what's your thoughts on all this?
It's so amazing. I mean, I remember seeing Seri Park win the US Open, and that being like a moment for me, being like, oh, I can actually do this on tour. I can actually make a living out of this. Because it's one thing to see white males. It's one thing to see, white women play. It's another thing to see an actual Asian woman, especially if they're Korean. And at that time, Chanho Park for the Dodgers was there. And it's just like really cool. Because I've always wanted to be an athlete. And it was so cool seeing people that look like you from the same background making it in America. I mean, I come from an immigrant family, and that's the American dream, right? And it was just so cool to see that and believe that. I think it's amazing, especially on the men's side, seeing a lot more Korean men playing and doing so well and winning golf tournaments and not getting ostracized, I guess. Being welcomed is another really amazing thing. You hear the stories, the articles of, I guess I forgot which players it was, but one player invited another player to their Christmas. And
Jordan Spieth invited Tom Kim.
Yeah. And I thought that was like so special because his tour is getting so global. Everyone's accepting different cultures and getting along. I would always get this question when I was younger about South Korean LPGA players being like, why are Koreans so good at golf? Like in a tone where... Not me. I'm just like, I don't know, kimchi power, maybe? I don't know. I would always say the wrong answer too, which now pisses me off. I'd be like, oh, they work really hard. Like, why I chose to say that makes me angry now. Because I would just like, I guess, I don't know. Like, it just, you kind of play into the stereotype, I guess. Like that Asian people work harder. It's like the model citizen stereotype. And I was playing into it. I felt like there was a time where, the LPGA was trying to shut out anyone that wasn't from America, and now we've accepted that we are a global tour. We go to so many amazing global spots, and it's been a work, to get to this point. And it's so amazing to see our players go over to Korea and actually like order real Korean food and like love it and search for it, and go to Thailand and order like real Thai food. And I think food and culture just brings people together. And it's just so amazing to see, how global both tours have gotten. Now the PGA Tour as much as I feel like as a woman.
How do you feel about like the state of like apparel in women's golf right now?
I think it's great. I think that golf is such a beautiful sport, but is also a very ostracizing sport. And I think it's a very classist sport. Like the first thing that you see when you go to a Muni golf course, I don't know if they still have that, but I remember always being like, no denim is like the first thing. No skateboarding. No, like it's a list of no's, right? I think with fashion, with clothes, I think that really opens up the game. And I think fashion is so important in golf because originally, it's polos and khakis and all of that. But I think with fashion, you bring in that streetwear, you bring in, more people to come and play golf. It makes the game younger. I think in women's golf in particular, I'm just glad that more companies are spending more money into women's fashion. I remember growing up, I would have to wear men's clothes. I'd have to wear a men's polo. There wasn't any female polos out there. So I'm glad that's shifting and more money is being put into that and people are pushing the boundaries. And I think you should always do that with fashion.
How do you think we continuously grow the game for women? Because I have 4 daughters. Like I want my daughters to play now. Like I want them to be out there with me playing. So when I'm 80 and they're pushing me down the fairway, I want to be chasing them, being their caddy pretty much. How do you in your mind, what would you do to continuously help grow the game?
It's a great question. I think just making it less intimidating. I think in all sports across the board, I think the dropout rate for girls is way higher than boys, unfortunately. And I think you just have to make it fun. You have to make it less intimidating. I think finding more female coaches is helpful too, because I think a lot of times the game can be really intimidating. Then having to learn from a male might be more intimidating for girls. So I think just having more girl support. I think the PGA Junior League is a great asset for junior golf. Having a team event, just having a group of girls get together and play golf is a lot of fun. So I'm working on some stuff that I can't share right now, but I think democratizing the game, getting more girls to get into golf, getting more just people in general to get excited about the game is something that I'm very passionate about. So hopefully soon I'll be able to share what we've been working on, but I'm very excited.
Well, I'll be tuning into your podcast to see what that's about.
4 daughters, man. So who was more where'd you get more of your golf advice or influence from, your mom or your dad, or was it?
My mom was in the pageant world. She was Miss Korea.
Wow.
She was a dancer. So I really leaned on her for advice. I would always make fun of my dad. He was a professor. I was like, you don't know what this feels like. You don't know the pressure. He's like, you're just a nerd. But yeah, no, I think both of them, they both kept me really grounded. My dad was a statistics professor, so he kept all my stats. Unfortunately, he gave me a lot of lectures on that. So this is what you should be doing better. But it was great because I am not that way at all. So it was nice having, someone on my team and my family that did all the math stuff for me. Then I just go out there and play.
Hold on. Your mom played golf, though. Was she playing golf when you were a little kid as well still?
Yeah, so both my mom and dad played. My dad was a 2 handicap. My mom was a 4 handicap. And they would go out and it was really serious. They would play in these couple tournaments and they would fly all across Hawaii and play. And then all of a sudden, I didn't really catch on when I was really young, but all of a sudden they would just drop me off at my friend's house, right? Asian parents were like, no sleepovers. I'm like, why am I here? They must be doing something really fun without me. So I figured out that they were playing these couples tournaments without me. And I was like, why are you leaving me? I just want to be with you guys. So I would beg them and they would take me out. And all I wanted to do was drive the golf cart. But then they left me in the pro shop and ended up folding clothes, the pro shop with the people but then I finally got invited to go out and play with them. So it was great.
Well, at what age did you start becoming where you could beat them? Your dad and your mom?
I beat my dad when I was 7.
Oh, wow.
What?
Yeah.
And he was a 2 handicap? You beat him when
he chokes, though. Chokes under pressure.
I just got beat. Remy's 11, and he just beat me. And he shot 1 over at the hay up there,
nice.
and I shot 3 over or something. But he was 1 under after 4, and I was 1 over, and then I just couldn't catch him. I just couldn't catch him.
Gets in your head.
Yeah, I couldn't catch him.
Wait, so what tees is Remy playing from right now?
Same as me.
Wow.
I mean, if he plays a big course, he'll play from the women's tee. But if he plays a par 3, he plays just wherever we play.
That's awesome. It's fun beating your parents. It's a special day.
I could imagine. My dad used to play, and he can't play anymore, but I wish, when I was 12, 13 years old, my dad and my brother was playing. My dad played, my uncles played, my grandfather played. I wish I could get that time back and just and go play with them. I wish.
Do any of your daughters play?
2 of them play, but they don't they're not consistent with it. They're really consistent with volleyball, gymnastics, softball. They love softball. And, golf is I'll go do it if dad wants to do it. It's not take me to the golf course. Oh, dad, let's go get hit balls. It's nah.
What about your child? Are you looking toward that?
she doesn't have the patience for it yet. She really likes hitting, doesn't understand the concept of putting whatsoever. And I'm like, oh, you're my daughter for sure. She just like picks up the ball and puts it in the hole. I'm like, no, you got to hit it in the hole. And she's just like, doesn't understand. Yeah, this is easier. Yeah. Makes sense. She loves basketball. She loves soccer, tennis, or pickleball, I guess, right now. But yeah, she loves sports. So we'll see which one she chooses.
Damn, you're not going to force her like a typical Korean parent? Be like, that's what you're doing.
No,
I'm being serious. Am I lying?
No.
Like, that's how it was. This is what you're doing.
Oh, yeah, I was forced into piano lessons.
Oh, my God. I was just going to say, I had a piano auntie. You know what I mean? Like, oh, my God.
It was awful. Pianos, I just hated it. But she loves it, too. So I'm like, okay, whatever floats your boat. You could do whatever you want.
JR asked earlier what your favorite club in the bag was, right? And I'm thinking, like, what is your least favorite club in your bag?
I don't have one.
That's what I said earlier.
Yeah, I like all my clubs. I don't think you should. My 5-iron was my least favorite club, so I replaced it. Now it's my favorite club. Yeah. So you should, if you have a least favorite club in your bag, it should be gone. You should need to replace it.
Get rid of it.
When I did play though, I had a bag of like ball markers, and I would like shake it up. I was like, give me the lucky one. And if it was like, I always had the Stanford one. One side was red, one side was white. And shut up. And
I want the cow, but go on.
Go card. I felt like if I was playing bad, I would always like flip my ball marker to the other side. I was very superstitious, but I don't really have like, I guess I collect hats. I don't know. I'm not much of like a golf course nerd, or like I gotta be
a nerd though. That's cool. Don't worry about it.
No,
it's all good.
Nerd.
That's cool.
He has like 20 sets of irons. Like he's crazy.
Hey man,
yeah,
we're
not
talking about me right now. We're talking about Michelle Wie right here, boy. But okay, so you brought up something real interesting to me, because obviously playing professional, we all have our superstitions, and it's like, I'll tell you what mine were, but I want to hear some of yours.
No, I want to hear yours first.
Nah, I'm not going to talk about mine. We're just here to talk about you.
No, I want to hear yours.
One for one.
Yeah, come on,
you say one, I'll say one.
Okay, so I used to literally every game for probably, I stopped doing it in Cleveland because they got mad at me. So I used to work out right before our meeting. And then we used to work out so hard, go sweating, go hard, and the meeting would go. And I never used to make it in time for the national anthem, because right after that I used to take a shower. And I got to get like completely clean in order to play the game. And that was like one of my superstitions, but it wasn't that interesting. But
I'll start with my least weird superstition. I never wear all white, because I wore all white once and I missed the cut. So
that was it.
I didn't blame my play. I blamed my outfit.
It must have been.
Yeah, I saw that tonal commercial ad you did. You're wearing all white in there.
Yeah.
I know it's a commercial, it's different, but
you know what I hated? If I had it going and I was making a few shots, and normally like there's always a water boy or somebody behind behind the bench, and they touch me with the water bottle. And like I feel like I'm hot, I'm going off, and out of nowhere, just no matter where it's at. It could be in the back of my neck, it could be over here, it could be over there. It's just and if sure enough, I would go miss the next 2 shots. I'm coming back. What the fuck you doing? Why the fuck you doing?
Wait, why?
But unintentionally, right? They're just like
no, it's
cold
super
bottle of water,
unintentional.
like
Super
tap them on the shoulder with a cold bottle of water.
Like if I got like a lot of the times, you wouldn't even see me sit down, because I didn't even want, like, I don't want no towel.
Oh, because you're heating up, so you don't want anything to cool you down.
I don't want nothing.
I get that.
Then immediately it was just like my whole body would turn like misty freeze, and I'm like, fuck, bro.
I get that though. I would never write my 4s like. I don't know how to describe this vocally.
like the triangle type 4.
Yeah, triangle type 4. I would have to do type. Like the field goal 4.
Why?
I don't know.
That's
But
like,
on
that's
paper,
like
if you're
golf.
writing like
On
a
the
check, you would
scorecard.
write it like a triangle?
I think I've
Or is it
now
in life?
always do normal 4 now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't like accidentally write a triangle 4 on my scorecard and be like,
Erase
oh
it.
shit, like something bad's gonna happen now.
Jesus. Well, I was going to have you on my, I remember I asked you, I was going to have you on my solo podcast, and that's a business show technically, but really it's unorthodox. But it's something I always ask, and I was interested, like you got signed, you were 16, I think, you got signed with Nike and Sony, and at 16, you're a millionaire, right? What's like the first thing, what's the first big purchase you bought at that time?
I didn't buy
Our
anything.
parents ain't going for that, bro. You ain't here?
Yeah.
Our parents ain't going for that.
I didn't have a bedroom growing up. It was like it was like a part of the living room. Then I had like a screen that went over. Still lived in that same bedroom. Didn't buy a car.
Wait, hold on. After the like, even when you got the deal, you were still living in that same place?
Yeah.
Damn.
Didn't do any. Yeah. I still had a debit card, which I found out had like a $500 a month allowance. And I didn't even know. I didn't spend that much.
What was your first car then? Tell me it was like.
Well, my first car, I didn't technically buy it. I was gifted a Jaguar. So I was this like freshman in college driving like a Jaguar. Like, you know, the one that's like the Aston Martin. I forgot what is the X Coupe?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was driving one of
yeah.
those. It was a baby blues.
In Palo Alto, you were pushing that around?
Yeah. And I was like, I can't do this. I was like, this is too showy.
That's baller.
So then I signed a deal with Kia and I was driving a Kia Soul for a while. But my first car I ever purchased was an BMW X5, which I still have.
Damn, Michelle,
Good
no
push.
crazy spending, nothing. That's
I love it, man. Shit, she getting it for free. Shit, sign me
Yeah.
up. Let me do a Kia deal with you next time. Let me know. I'll be the person in the rat pack in the back.
I mean, I also signed with a Mecca too, so I was gifted watches, so I never had to.
Omega's
See?
dope. That's a
That's
great
what I'm
watch.
saying. That's what-
Yeah.
Excellent timepiece.
Yeah, it's great.
That's fire. She's like,
Hey, what
yeah.
about there's a Champions Tour? Is there such things for?
Yeah, it's called the Legends Tour. It's nowhere like the PGA Tour, but hopefully one day I'll get up there.
You think
And no,
that
I'm
you're-
not playing.
You're never going to do it?
No.
But no one's looking to do it? Or is it like,
I think some
I
ladies
think
do
the
it.
Champions Tour, like
Yeah.
a lot of people do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, if it was, let's say, if it was just like the Champions Tour where we're playing for $3 million purses every week, there's no cut, I can play in carts. Yeah, sign me up.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But it's like,
I ain't
Wait,
realize
Champions
it was
Tour is
like
in cart.
that.
John Daly's in a cart?
if he wants to
If he
be.
wants to,
Oh.
So he is.
there's no cut.
Really?
Does it
That's
start at
their-
50?
There's a lot of
or does it start
Yeah,
at-
it started
exemptions. They let
50.
like Jesper like goes and plays in them certain ones just because he's, you know, Jesper
Yeah,
Parnevik. So
3-day
like,
tournaments.
Yeah, VJ's playing.
Yeah, it's their retirement program.
so with the women it's different. It's not as appealing.
No,
Yeah,
I
I
get
think
it, but
the-
if it says lit and it's like pretty close, like comparable purse wise and everything, would you go out there and do
Consider
it?
it. Yeah, no cut, 3-day events. I don't know, it might be fun. In carts. I don't want to walk anymore.
I mean, what'd you shoot your last round?
I don't know. I don't remember. What did
What's
I
the
shoot?
most under par in one round? Lifer. How many under?
I don't know. I don't really like
17.
keep
under?
score
But
when
it
I
was
don't in
normal for
not
you to shoot
tournaments.
5-7 under.
Yeah. My lowest score in
normal.
tournaments was 64. I never was the type of player that shot really low. I would always win on golf courses that was hard, and the winning score
Longer
wasn't
ones.
as low. Like I never
Yeah.
did well in tournaments where the winning score was like minus 32 or something like
Short
that.
and like them
Yeah.
just picking it off. It was
Yeah.
the hard longer ones with wind.
Yeah, with wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, sign me up.
Keep it low.
Obviously, winning the tournament, any tournament's hard. But when you win in the harder tournaments and stuff like that, it's got to mean like, it's got to feel, you know, rewarding.
Yeah, like when I, won the major at Pinehurst, it was so rewarding, not because I achieved my dream of winning a US Open, but winning it at Pinehurst, like a notable golf course, that just meant more to me. But
With the Payne Stewart statue and all of that over
Exactly.
there.
Yeah.
That course is really...
I've been wanting to play it, man. I want to go to North
It's
Carolina.
basically like the guy he putted in from like 50 yards in.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Just because these greens are like on mounds.
50 yards or 50 feet?
50 yards, like 50 yards in, he was just putting it and would
you
put
can,
it up.
You can putt from anywhere there.
Yeah, and basically the greens are like on mounds. So like if you fly it in, it might hit and bounce off the back, or it'll like check and suck off the front. So for you to win there, it's like, yeah, it's like
It was
I can't
awesome.
imagine like everyone around where that clubhouse is and the
Oh, yeah.
stands and like.
It was pretty
Do you
wild.
have your photo in Pinehurst? You must.
I think
I
so,
can't wait
yeah.
to go see it.
Pinehurst
going.
has 6 courses, right?
Maybe 8 or 10 by now.
Well, they're building, I think, 10 right
I
now.
just heard.
Yeah.
You
They're
played there
doing
before,
the
right?
10th.
I haven't.
You haven't
we're
played
going.
Pinehurst?
I
You
haven't.
lived there, bro. You
I'm down the street and I haven't been there. I know, man.
Oh
I
my
know.
gosh.
I'm working on it.
You have to go. It is like the golf mecca in the U.S.
Don't worry
What did you
about
say?
it.
Besides
I'm just telling
Pebble?
Michelle
I was
But
gonna
it's
say
like
Pebble and
it's even more of the Mecca than Pebble, because there's more courses and it's older and
Yeah.
it's insane there. Yeah, I love it. Early COVID, I went to Virginia for like a year to hide out from LA, and I was going down there constantly because it's like Pinehurst, like I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hour drive or something, like ripping down. And then I played all of the I played like 4 and I played 3 and 8. You can take a cart, so you could play like walk 2 in the morning and then go get a cart and play 8 like the next day or something. And,
Did you hear what he just said?
What?
He said, we're going over there. A ton of Michelle sent us.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
They
Tell
know
them I
her
sent you
around
guys.
there. They know her.
Yeah,
Name ring
pull over
bells
there.
around there. You know what I'm saying?
Doesn't happen in a lot of places, but I think I got some pull
I
over
was
there.
played at Sabonic like a few months back, and this guy I was playing against, I played 2 days, and so he was my partner one day, and he was not very good. And then the next day I was playing against him, and he was putting like, it reminded me of the way you used to putt, right? Where his like back was like almost flat. So he started this putting technique that looked like her style, and he just started making putts like left and right. And so then I remember I was like, I don't know, everything was good till this guy turned into fucking Wheezy over here. And I just kept saying that shit. And then like only 2 of them knew what I was talking about. And they still call him it now. They still call him Wheezy
way.
because of that day. I'm like, what's up? How's Wheezy? They're like cracking up. Like that's just his name. One day putting, he just started bending over really far and like putting his elbows like that. And then he's like making putts. So then he didn't stop doing it. Like fucking Wheezy's out here crushing us
I can
again.
make putts right now. I use it too.
Try
You know,
it.
all of us are like, obviously super, we got the bug real bad and super golf nerds. I think there's going to be a lot of people who are non-traditional golf fans that are tuning in and new golfers and things like that. Like, where would you say your favorite golf course was to play at on the tour? And then what was your favorite course to play off the tour?
I think on tour, I mean, I guess not golf course wise, but I always loved the West Coast swing because it brought me back to the West Coast. And then we don't unfortunately have the tournament there anymore, but at Mission Hill, so we had the ANA at Dinah Shore. That was really special. That was like our Augusta. So yeah, that tournament was always special. I think off the tour, I don't know. I don't really know that many golf courses, funny enough.
Oh my God. Have you played in Korea yet or no?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Korea's great.
Can you please tell them what golf in Korea is like?
You guys, have you
Please.
not played?
Yeah.
You have.
Yeah.
Have you played golf in
No.
Korea yet? Oh my! It is an eating extravaganza. There's like a comfort station every 4 holes, maybe, and it's like full like eating, like dumplings,
Tell them about the turn. Just
chicken feet, everything, and like drinking, and you have golf carts that just walk on, like go on the cart path without you. The caddies like can push a button and the golf cart would just follow you. It's
GPS.
So the
it's-
fairways
Oh, yeah, I
stay
need
nice
that.
and like groomed.
Yeah.
The cart stays over, and then the caddies run back and forth to the
Good
cart,
club.
Yeah.
and then they'll hit a button. It'll go up by the green, park behind the green.
it's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's dope.
And the fashion in Korea is insane. I heard there's like a rent the runway, but for like golf clothes in Korea.
It's wild though. Those like the malls. So there's malls, and then on the first floor it's like cosmetics and beauty and
be
health.
grocery, second
The
floor.
fourth
Yeah.
floor is like golf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's every brand you could imagine, like side by side. It's a whole floor. Like think of like a big mall department store.
Yeah.
And there's like shop in shops. And then I just read something, or Erica was telling me something that like in Korea spend like the most money on like high end
Big time.
like goods or something, and on golf.
Yeah.
So for like us as a brand, it's like very good to
So
be in
Stephen,
Korea, you know?
In
It's like
2000,
double.
in 2013, Paris and Italy, straight from the runway, would always go. It would go, stay in Europe, whatever. Probably go to New York. LA be like the last place to get it. Korea's getting right off the runway, whether it be Fendi, Louis Vuitton, Givenchy, everything, because Korea was so big. And what he was saying is, have you ever been to Harrods in London? Mm-mm. Okay, you know what Barney's is like, right? Like the OG Barney's, like 6 floors and everything, right? So imagine that times 1,000,000. Except there's like, you could be a place where there's appliances. It could be like alcohol. And then you go, and then like you said, the 4th floor is all golf. And it's like top tier. Like
It's
not
really sports, but it's like 80% golf.
Yeah.
And
I
there's
wish
like a
we had
little
that in
hiking
America,
store.
yeah.
There's like some like outdoor weird shit. And
So
and it's all golf.
You've been to the Galleria in Cheongdam, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is like the nicest. This is the nicest one, where like they have a Saint Laurent. They have anything you could think of. The highest of highest. Women's stuff, Alaya, everything. And my boy showed me Malbon in that one section. And I was, man, that was like a super proud moment. I was like, yo, my boy has
wild.
arrived in the most lit, like the top tier, This
That's
is Cheongdom's
tough.
like the Rodeo Drive of Korea, like in Seoul. It's just like it was. God,
Hey, I gotta go, man. I gotta make it over there.
Let's do a
For
Korea
real.
trip.
Asia's
Korea's
wild.
fun.
We
Yeah.
just went to, my wife's father is from Manila, so we went to Manila for Christmas, which was like crazy Catholic, like
Super.
insane holiday. And I played Manila Golf Club and I played Walk Walk and just a couple really fun courses there. And then we went to Indonesia and played golf. But my wife is very helpful in like Korea and Japan, and she grew up here in Beverly Hills, and then when she was like 12, she moved for 6 years to Manila. So she skipped like teenage Beverly Hills life and went to Manila and like went to international school and then moved back. So yeah,
Bro, did she go to ISA?
Yeah, in Manila.
How old is Erica?
33.
Oh, my wife went to ISA. She went to high school in ISA. That's crazy, in Manila.
Yeah,
I never knew that, dude.
they probably know, you know.
Yeah, same
It's so
people.
wild. Like, so now, like, when we were just there, like, her dad's friend is like the president. Is not like he's the president of Manila, and it's just like the craziest place. Where
Wow.
like I put on Instagram like I want to play, you know, Manila Golf Club, and I just put it on my Instagram, and then people start hitting me up. But then I played with like a governor and
Senators and stuff.
yeah, like a congressman, but that wasn't from the family's relationship. That was just from like people following on Instagram, and they're like, I can get you on Manila Golf Club. Manila Golf Club is like positioned around Augusta. So it's like white caddy suits, and it's right in Manila with skyscrapers like
It's right outside the fort, the area.
yes, exactly. It's right outside that Shangri-La at the fort. Yeah, you can see it from the window.
Yeah.
So that's why when I checked in, I saw it. And so I'm like taking pictures. I'm like, oh, who can get me on Manila Golf Club? And I got on. But they were telling me where like Obama's been trying to play there for like his entire life. But with Secret Service, it's like an impossible mission to get him on because there's skyscrapers like all the way around the course.
Yeah.
So they would have to like empty every, you know, place. But it's trippy golf in Asia. But the wild thing is like playing here and growing up here, and then you go there and play. But it's like, Jar, like you in your head, you were like, oh, it's going to be different. But it's like the exact same. It's like it's the exact same. Like your rangefinder works. It's like just nothing changes at all. The caddies that are with you, like we might not speak the same language, but they'll like line the ball up, and then they use their putter to tell you how far it's going to break. So they'll be like, you know, it's going this way, and then they'll hold the putter and they'll be like,
Oh, that's
you
actually
know what I mean? Or like one putter, like
That's
it's going to
actually
break
pretty,
a
yeah.
ton, or one grip, like one grip left.
Yeah.
And then they'll set the ball up with the line. When they mark the ball and clean it, they set it back up perfectly on line. So you just walk up and putt. you know.
Season 2 of Part 3, we are going
To Asia.
We're going to Asia. We're
Buying some real estate.
Buying real estate. We're playing golf with Michelle Wie in Korea. We're going to have live interviews from the course.
Yeah.
Season
Sign
2 of
me
Part
up.
3.
Michelle, so, you know, when you think about your career in the LPGA, or PGA as well, if there's anything you could have did differently, like, what would it be?
I definitely would have listened to my body more when I was going through injuries. I would have taken more time instead of rushing it. So I felt like it just really added onto one another. That gave me a lot of anxiety too, like playing through pain, because I just got to the point where I would look at a ball, I'm like, oh, this is going to really hurt. So I wish I had taken longer periods off. Again, I don't really have that many regrets because I feel like my mistakes taught me the things I needed to learn. And my downs taught me what I needed to learn. So really, I don't have regrets besides just stop. I wish I wasn't as stubborn and just listen to my body more.
It's that Korean stubbornness. Yeah. But, you know, for all the people who are beginning golfers that listen to that, I mean, I don't even know much about injuries except having like back pain because I'm old. But what was the most common injury like during tour?
Well, it was funny because a lot of my injuries didn't come from golf. And that was like the hardest thing to wrap my head around. It was just like weird freak accidents. Like I would step in a hole and like deteriorate my ankle, like weird stuff like that. Or I fell. So when I went on a trip to Stanford, when I was after I turned pro when I was 17, I was working out with the team and I did backward, like reverse sprints, or when you run backwards. Very unathletic. I should never do that. I fell and I shattered my left wrist. I like broke 3 bones in my left wrist.
Damn.
From running
And
backwards?
then your whole career, your
Yeah.
left wrist was an issue,
My
right?
whole, yeah.
I remember seeing you with like tape on
Yeah.
it. And, like,
ACL
So,
tape and
yeah,
all that.
so- and I didn't know what an orthopedic surgeon was at that point. So I went to my pediatrician in Hawaii, and they put me in a cast where I should have done like a lot more probably. And I took off the cast way too soon, actually fractured my hand even more after that. And it's just my wrist was never the same.
and it was your left wrist, right?
my left wrist,
Which
and
is
then-
like takes 90%
Yeah.
of the shock.
Then I was in a car accident, which really hurt my neck. I had to have surgery on my right hand because of that. So it's like, I never got a golf injury. It was always like really freak accidents, which made it a lot harder to, stop
golfing,
playing. So
yeah.
I'm like, wait. And it would always happen. I guess my one golf injury, but it was a freak accident. After I won the U.S. Open, I played in this tournament, and my ball was stuck in a divot, like a really bad divot. And I tried to hit out of it, and my club just hit the ground and didn't go forward. And I actually fractured my hand from that. So then I was like, I was playing so well. I'd won 2 times that season so far. And then I hurt my wrist in July, right after the U.S. Open. And I didn't play for 3 months after that. And it was just like, it was really hard because I'm like, okay, like my mind couldn't comprehend why I was getting these injuries,
And
That's
you were
why
like ready to go.
Exactly. I was ready to go,
And then it's like sit home for 120
and the next
days.
season, I was playing in Canada, and I was 5 shots off the lead on Sunday, and then I had to get my appendix taken out that day.
Oh, what?
That day.
Yeah, funny story actually. So I was 5 shots off the lead, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to charge. And all of a sudden, I was struggling with colitis that year. I got sick in Mexico when we were playing. Ended up getting colitis. It was a long story. I went to the ER like every week, and then I was like, okay, it's probably just colitis again. In a foreign country. I'm just gonna go to the ER, and hopefully they'll give me some meds, some painkillers, and be out. Text my caddy. He's like, hey, I'm just gonna go straight to the golf course. I'm not gonna tee up. I'm warm up. I just gotta go. My dad's bringing my contacts, and I'm gonna go from the hospital. I'm ready to go. Doctor's like, you're not going anywhere. He's like, you're not going anywhere for a while. I'm like, what do you mean? And I was like, can I fly back to America to get my surgery? He's like, no, you're getting your appendix taken out here in Canada. And I'm like, okay. So
So did you have to
There you
withdraw,
have
or what
it.
happened?
I had to withdraw. And then our tour's like, the rule official was like, hey, you have to they told my caddy, he's like, hey, we had this weird rule. They changed it, but it was this weird nuance rule. Like, oh, she has to be on site to withdraw.
Oh, wow.
And my caddy's like, she's literally on an operating
Yeah,
table.
that's not gonna work.
I
Yeah.
don't think
Is it the caddy Matthew?
Funny to me,
Is it
man.
that guy
That makes
Matthew?
me
Yeah.
mad.
I
No,
remember-
at that time. Was it
There's
Matt?
someone else.
No, I think it was Matt. Yeah.
I still see him.
Yeah.
And I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah.
I met him at Wilshire with you
He's
guys.
the best.
Were at
Matt's
Wilshire.
the best. My caddy's the best.
I lied. One last question. Why'd you hit that deer, man, at Pebble Beach, man?
I didn't hit the deer. Tiger hit the deer.
Oh, it was Tiger that hit the deer?
Yes, I threw Tiger under the bus. It wasn't me. It was Tiger that hit the deer. I almost hit a deer.
Did you see that video?
No,
I never seen it.
They're hitting balls.
that's Spyglass, right?
And she was literally, I thought it was you. That's why the comment. Yeah, she hits the ball. I don't know what. There was an iron, and boom, there was a deer right there. The Tiger hit her.
Tiger hit the deer. I didn't hit the deer. But okay, to everyone's defense, there are maybe 100 deer on that range.
And it's foggy.
And it's foggy.
Yeah.
We're not aiming for deers. It just
No, I know you're saying
everywhere
get out
out
of here.
there.
But yes, I threw Tiger in the bus. He hit the deer, not me.
Steven, anything you want to ask before we wrap up?
When are you coming back to Pebble?
Hopefully soon.
U.S. Open? Will you be there?
I will be there I'm playing the U.S.
the
Open.
women's?
Yeah. Yeah.
There it
And
is.
there we have it. U.S. Women's Open. That's good. That's exciting, right?
Yeah.
Pebble.
I'm excited.
Michelle,
No,
thank you
thanks
so
for
much.
having me, guys. This was so much fun.
Absolutely.
Really
Congrats on
appreciate it. Really appreciate
such
it.
an amazing set and show. And I hope you guys have so many more cooler guests than me.
No,
You're the
no,
best.
you're the GOAT. You're the
For
GOAT.
sure, you're the
Now
guy.
That's
we-
it, guys. Michelle Wie, legend, J.R. Smith, Stephen Malbon, Korean John Daly. That's another episode right there, part 3. We're out of here, y'all.